Hi and welcome to the We Need Voice podcast, and today I'm joined from an apparently not sunny Portugal by Marie. See, I told you she'd be back. Marie, how's it going?
It is good. For once, we actually did have a decent weather. But yeah, April's the worst day to be in Portugal. It's just, do not come to Portugal during April. It's like the worst month ever.
And we are not sponsored by the Portuguese Tourist Board, as you can clearly say.
But do. I do content about Portugal. I would love that.
There you go, yeah. So do go to Portugal and pay Marie to do you content about Portugal. Well, moving away from Portugal, we are moving over to Hell's Kitchen. And today we're going to take a dive into season one of Marvel's Daredevil Born Again. So, for the uninitiated, this is pretty much a direct sequel to Netflix's original Daredevil show, starring most of the same cast, which ran from 2015 to 2018 for 3 seasons, and then, of course, before the team-up show, The Defenders. This all happened, though, before the Marvel-Disney merger, and that ended all the Netflix shows, essentially. So, if you're a fan, you know it's been a troubled journey to bring the Devil of Hell's Kitchen back to the screen. Charlie Cox's Matt Murdoch did appear for a brief cameo in 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home, and in a Marvel TV show's Echo, which also brought back Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, and, of course, She-Hulk, which I enjoyed, and apparently everyone else absolutely hated.
I couldn't finish it. I think I watched like 3 episodes. It didn't hit for me.
Did you not see his cameo in it then?
No, I saw the clip afterwards, but I only found out like afterwards when someone was just saying like, "Oh yeah, Daredevil's in it," and I'm like, "He is?" I didn't. I don't think I made it past episode 3.
I feel sorry for She-Hulk. Like, it knew what it was, and it's just that people didn't want that. They wanted something different. It was like Ally McBeal with superheroes, and it was cheesy and it was funny. I mean, Wong, so much good Wong stuff in it. Like, honestly, there could have been a Wong spin-off with that. You would have loved the episode with Wong and Madison with a Y, but it's not what you think.
See, I didn't even know he was in it. Like, I don't think I got that far.
Honestly, give it a go. I would like. They're only short episodes as well. When you can't sleep one night and you're like, oh, what should I watch? Should I go down a rabbit hole of YouTube? No, watch She-Hulk and be like, you know what? It wasn't as bad. But this isn't a She-Hulk podcast. But so bringing it back to Daredevil. So the short version is that Matt Corman and Chris Ord were hired to pen Disney's new version of the show, but then they decided to give it an episodic structure and a lighter tone than the Netflix show. This was a show that was going to give us more of Matt Murdoch, the lawyer, than as Daredevil, and it was going to have an 18-episode season, which is unheard of in I'd say early 2000s, 90s. That was what a successful genre show had. You'd have 22 episodes a season. But in a modern day, I just don't think people want that much. Or if they do, it's split into various seasons.
You need a lot of filler. I mean, that was the thing about the 90s. Like, there was like 10 episodes that were plot related and the other was filler. But it was also like how it aired. Because if you air it on the TV show, like air it on TV, no one could tune into every single episode. Whereas like now binging, everyone can watch it at any time they want, like with streaming.
I think it was even with the original Daredevil and all the Marvel adjacent Netflix shows. People complained there was too many filler episodes because I think weren't they all 10 episodes almost every show, I think.
I honestly don't remember the complaints. Because I was thinking about that when we got this show, because people don't remember how starved we were for superhero content like during the early 2000s. Like now we're spoiled. Now like we're even getting bored of it. But when Daredevil came out, there was nothing like it. Like we had Arrow, but that turned to shit like after like season 2. Like the first 2 seasons of Arrow, I still stick by, but after that, it went out the window. This Daredevil, like it was the first time we got a superhero show that wasn't campy, that wasn't cheesy. This was gritty, this was real, and this was like what the comics were. I mean, if we compare it to the very terrible Daredevil movie with Affleck, like this was the polar opposite, and it's just like finally we're like, oh shit, we finally got something good. And it was also just for comic book fans. Like I don't think anyone who didn't really know Marvel checked out the show. This was just like a show for comic book fans.
I think the problem is they tried too much too quickly with the shows at the time, and they're linking it all together. They were trying to do with TV. Well, sorry, Netflix were trying to do with TV what Marvel were actually trying to do with the films.
Yeah, no, the Defenders, that sucked ass. It was so bad. I was really looking forward to the Defenders, and when it came out, I was just like, oh, this is like the biggest letdown of all letdowns. I think it also didn't help that they were shackled by the fact that they weren't part of the MCU. Like I
Mm.
still remember like there was like references. Like I think in one episode of Jessica Jones, she says the big green guy where she's clearly referencing the Hulk. But the fact that they weren't part of the MCU and couldn't actually like reference other superheroes or other characters, like that really also inhibited them. And yeah, the Defenders, I mean, it kind of went downhill after Iron Fist. Let's just
I think Iron Fist is the tipping point, to be fair. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, so I mean, at some point during the writer's strikes, Kevin Feige fortunately allegedly saw early cuts of the show, and he's like, he doesn't even put the suit on until the fourth episode, and the project was paused. Corman and Ord were let go, as were three of the series' initial directors, and Marvel hired Dario Scapadan, and I'm apologies if I've got his name wrong, but he was the main writer of The Punisher. And I loved The Punisher. That was one of the most brutal TV shows I've ever seen. I also loved it because it had whoever made it clearly loved Alice in Chains. And so there was so much Alice in Chains music in it. But again, the songs work brilliantly. I'm okay. So there's an Alice in Chains song called Rooster, and it's about Vietnam and coming back from Vietnam. So of course you've got, Frank and his PTSD, and I was like, and it just, I was like, it's these people know the songs, they know how well this is going to fit with it.
I did not watch it. Out of all the Netflix shows, The Punisher was the one that I did not watch. I watched like one episode of it and then I again couldn't go through it. I mean, it's like
Especially for background on the Frank and Karen relationship. It's definitely worth checking out.
The Punisher was a boys' show. It was like guns, yay, woo, and that's just not my vibe at all.
So the planned 18 episode season was then split into two seasons with 9 episodes in the season one that we've just watched, and I'm assuming the bulk of the Corman and Ord material was kind of repurposed and used in that. And then the back 9 episodes, as they used to call it back in the day, the back nine, they'll drop next year, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be largely the new team's creation. Apparently, the new creative team were responsible for the opening episode, though, which, like, oh dear, because that was a fucking mess as we're going to get into at some point, and at least two others. But one of the new Marvel EPs on it did say they are open to bringing back other elements from the Netflix shows. So give us Jessica Jones
Give us
and do the
Jessica
Defenders,
Jones.
and then do the Defenders right. Just do
Yeah.
it right.
Like I don't care to be honest. Like I like Luke Cage, but I don't care about him. Give me back my girl. Give me back Jessica Jones. Like I want to see her in the MCU.
Right. So Marie, initial thoughts on this season of Daredevil.
This had an identity crisis, man. I mean, it just did not know what it wanted to be and that meant also going into it, I expected something different because they did package it as a reboot, but it wasn't a reboot. It was a direct continuation of the Netflix show, but they did it so clunky and badly that it just didn't work. It didn't flow. It did pick up around the end. I do agree with that, but it didn't go off to a great start. Maybe because I was so happy to see these characters back again. Like I was when Charlie Cox appeared in Spider-Man. That was my favorite cameo. I loved seeing him in the MCU. Yeah, it missed the mark sometimes for me. Like it still had its like good moments, but yeah, it went through an identity crisis.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it had a really muddled start. Like I said to
Yeah.
my old man, because my old man watched The Punisher, he hadn't watched Daredevil, and I was like, but he really liked The Punisher, like you say, boys show, right, man show. So my old man, loved it. So we started watching this, and I said, oh, he's a blind lawyer, but he can fight and all that. And he was so lost. And we watched the first episode, and
Yeah.
he was like, no, I don't think I want to continue with it. And it took me a while to go back and get back into it again.
It's I thought that was the idea to reintroduce the character to new viewers, but
Mm.
then it didn't do that. And even as like someone who was like a very like diehard fan of the Netflix show, even I was lost and I was just like, "Oh, like where are we?" Like I was getting whiplash.
I mean, you can definitely see the joins where it feels like two completely different shows that have been spliced together. But like you said, it does pick up, and I think as they kind of start crafting the changes to get us to the end of the series and
Hmm.
away from the material that they just had to use, there was definitely a marked improvement, and it really does give me hope that we're going to get a decent second series. So let's get into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck. And occasionally there will be a what in the actual fuck for a scene that just takes you out of the show or movie so much that you have to yell, "What's the actual fuck?" And you're going to get the first one of those today, I believe. But first, the good. And the good is Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox are superb as always. And I like that they both have a very similar character arc in this season. You know, Matt promises to stop being Daredevil, Fisk promises to stop being a criminal. And of course, we both know that by season's end, they'll both be born again. And like as Matt says later on, fuck it, and he puts a suit on again. Fisk crushes a guy's head with his bare hands. I just loved how great both of them were because you just see they inhabit the role so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were born for these roles. I mean, that's the thing that made this show like not even passable. Like it still made it good. Like even when like things weren't really making sense or the writing wasn't really there, the fact that these two characters played by these two actors, like it carried the show on. They carried the show on their backs. Every time Charlie Cox was on screen, I was just like, yep. This guy is born to play Daredevil. He is like so unbelievably good in the role. In my opinion, he's actually gotten better in the role. I mean, he's been playing now Daredevil for like over a decade. Like just has gotten more good looking, if that's possible. I just had to throw that out there. But yeah, my favorite was the diner scene with them two together, which I think was like teased as a teaser, which I didn't specifically watch because I wanted to be surprised. But it's just like there was almost like this mutual agreement of like between them when they got together, and it's just like you're like, yes, like this is what we wanted. It's just everything around it, how they packaged the show just kind of fell apart.
It's that kind of mutually assured self-destruction, isn't it? They kind of agree on there.
Exactly.
The way it's kind of framed with like the main hero and the main villain there in a diner having that conversation, it's really reminiscent of Michael Mann's Heat when you have that face-off with De Niro and Pacino. For the like, and they're like, it's this the first time with these two big guys opposite each other in the same film, and they were kind of giving you that kind of vibe there. So I was like, okay, I get your visual touchstones, creators of Daredevil. As we kind of know, Matt is a bit of a man whore.
He is such a man whore. I mean, I texted this in the group chat because just, I mean, like I've been thinking about it. Back to it, I don't think we had a single season of Daredevil where Matt was single for like less than an episode. Like he just jumps from girl to girl, and it's just like so funny. It's like the man can't help himself. He is.
And we will be talking about his relationship with Dr. Heather Glenn later, but not in the good section.
Does not fall into the good section, exactly.
Exactly. However, in one brief scene, I thought Matt had more chemistry with the Latvian prosecutor girl, Sophia Azola. And I was like, everyone was like, why can't we have more of her? She was so good. Like chemistry between them, you're like, why is this so good when his relationship with her is so terrible, which we'll get into the next bit.
That's what like prompted my message in the group chat. When I saw this scene, I was just like, what a man whore. Like it's just flirting it up left and right.
I also have the Punisher in the good. He isn't in it a lot. We get that scene with him and Matt in the apartment, which is kind of like a throwaway scene because you've seen it a million times. They just shout at each other and argue with each other's kind of outlook on how they should deal with criminals. When he takes on the corrupt cops, I was so in for that because it is funny. It's true. Like in real life, how many people you see these knobheads online who've got a Punisher tattoo and like, yeah, we want to get it, we kill the bad guys and all this, and you're just like, you are completely missing the point of the character. You've got so many real life knobhead fascists who get Punisher tattoos and just miss the point of the character. And it's great when there's that scene where they've got him tied up to the chair and they're all like, what do you want us to do? And he's like, he just starts laughing at him. And he's like, you guys are pieces of shit. I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. And I was like, yes, Frank. You know, John Bernthal, the actor, probably feels the same way as do the creators of the show and the character. So it's great to see them just go, do you know what? Fuck all these idiots who have completely misread the character and are using it in the wrong way. And this scene was just him going to town on that. And I loved it. I was like, it took the agency back of the original character, which I loved. That was one of my favorite bits actually in the finale.
I did enjoy him hearing him calling him Red again. But yeah, for me, I'm putting the Punisher in a different section because I was not happy.
Oh dear. One thing I was happy with, because everyone thought that this show might be Disneyfied a little bit, was the ridiculous, shocking violence.
Such a weird saying. I was happy because of the violence. I get what you meant.
Yeah. I don't like love it, but it's not my. But
no. But I mean, yeah, you did.
It was a
callback. You
didn't
expect it. You didn't expect it, especially the last episode. Yeesh, the blood budget was out of this world for that episode. They really went to town. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
I'm
he crushed a man's head with his bare hands.
yes, and I think in one of the scenes where they're in Matt's apartment, I'm pretty sure the Punisher rips off some dude's arm. Like I see a limb flying. It was dark, but something flew.
The Punisher did do a lot of damage in his couple of scenes this season. I like a lot. One other thing I liked Michael Gandolfini as Daniel Blake in it. He's probably one of the best sketched out kind of new side characters. On paper, he's a useless lackey. He's off clubbing, off his face. He like makes mistakes, but he gets promoted because he's a true believer in Fisk and doesn't lie to him. And I thought, oh, this is really good. This is a storyline that can go somewhere. You know, what's his reaction going to be when he finds out Fisk is a bad guy? Is he going to care? Is he just so
Oh,
entrenched with
he's
him?
not gonna care. I
No.
mean, he's like this is like again, I know this type. It's like it's the incel of the group. Like he is just like he thinks he's above everyone else, even though he isn't. Yeah, he just doesn't care. He's a person who's addicted in power. Like he's that type of person.
And you really see that in his final scene of
Yeah.
the season, where he's sitting there and they're basically threatening all the people on the council, the city council, who aren't going to go with Fisk's new plan of basically doing whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And he's like, and the threat, the inherent threat in what he says is so like, but I got vibes of his dad. Like, this is like, if you ever watch The Sopranos, like, holy shit, like, he is channeling his old man so much here. Especially, I mean, we just need him in Jersey and then boom, job done. I mean, it's funny because his debut as an actor was playing the young version of his dad in The Many Saints of Newark, which was a Sopranos prequel film, which is really good actually. He's really good, and I was like, yeah, I want to see more of him in the second series. He's got a good arc to go now, so I'm quite happy with that. I thought the serial killer Muse, I thought he was creepy as fuck, but also he did come out of nowhere, and you can kind of tell that that storyline was one that was probably going to be a main storyline in the original showrunner's idea. And then the when the new team come on, they were kind of like, we like this, but it's a little bit too 70, and we need to wrap it up as quickly as possible to move on with what we want to do. And of course, we'll move on to that in the next section. Fisk Vanessa relationship, I really like that again. It's always been good. Vanessa, as he yells all the time. And I like how she's become the crime lord in his absence.
Yeah, she is a very complicated character, and I really like her. Like because like I mean, she's been there from the very beginning.
Until they didn't bring her back and recast with someone else, and then the fans were like, nope. And
They
I'm
did?
guessing, yeah, when Foggy and there wasn't a different actress in the show, but when they did the reboot and originally Foggy and Karen weren't going to be in it, they'd recast her with a different actress.
Why would you do that? Because yeah, their relationship, I mean, it's twisted sweet in a way. Like she's also like, I mean, she's a very morally gray character, and she's been from that from the very beginning. She's like addicted to violence as well, just like Fisk's. They're like the yin to the yang. They're like perfect for each other. And yeah, I really enjoyed seeing her again. This is a character I think that was handled great when it comes to
Hmm.
like callbacks to the original Netflix series. You knew exactly like where she stood, where she was. You didn't really need to have like a reintroduction to her. What I really also liked was the rabbit in the snowstorm painting, which was their like meet cute from the very
All
first
right.
season with now with like with that spray of blood across it. That was a great like callback to the original series, and it worked really well because it was for the fans of the original series going, oh yeah, that's the painting, but for average viewers they're like, oh, that's a nice painting. But that's how you do like weave in the old with the new.
Now, one question you'll be able to probably answer about her better than me, because I'm still not sure on this. In the penultimate episode, when she has hired Bullseye to kill Fisk, right? That's the way I interpreted it. When Matt jumps in and saves him.
No,
No, so I got that completely wrong. I thought
no, he no, because
so.
no.
Who was Bullseye there to kill then?
Her. And then I think he maybe changed his mind. She hired
Ah,
him to kill
yeah, to kill
Foggy.
Foggy. Yeah,
And so Matt helped him escape to get revenge. But then Matt realized, oh, maybe that was a bit of a fucked up thing to do. And then, yeah, he just decided. I think maybe in the moment he decided to change his mind. A mind that Fisk would be a better target. Maybe killing someone who she loved would be a better punishment. No, I don't think so. I don't think she wants him dead. I think they're so devoted to each other.
but I know because obviously you have the stuff where she'd had the affair, where he'd been off recuperating after. See, if you didn't watch Echo, you don't know that he gets shot in the head by Echo, and that's how the series ends. So you kind of like he needed to recover from that, and they don't really mention it a lot.
I mean, they do. When they had like a catch up with Matt, he did mention that he got
Not a
shot.
lot.
But no, but again, that's one of those things where it's one of those plot points that doesn't affect this
Yeah,
season, whereas like some of the other plot points like did like just a conversation about I think it was just like a throwaway line, just
hmm,
like when oh yeah when Matt just goes, didn't she shoot you in the head, and Fisk just
that's
goes,
it. Yeah.
eh. Like that was like it because it was a funny moment, and it just also like caught up the viewer who didn't see Echo.
I remember in Echo, I was like, "Oh, she killed." Because the way they play in Echo, you're like, "Oh shit, she has killed him." Like there is no doubt that he has survived that when you watch that in that show.
I think it was the intention that he would die, and then they realized he was too popular, so they brought him
We need to
back.
bring him back. Yeah. One character I did like, and I can't even remember his name, which is not a great sign, but Fisk's English henchman. He's just a creepy motherfucker. Like, how he's trying to just like kill Matt. Like, you just send him. Like, even though Daredevil is in hospital, as we get to the last episode as well, one thing that's great that I want to get, we get the Frank, Matt, Karen love triangle back again. Frank had a shave and a haircut for her, and Matt heard their hearts beat quicker. And the fact she asked him, and there's that little look over, and I was like, oh, they're setting it up so well here because Matt it can just go off and be a man whore, and the fact that him and Karen never get together. At least I don't think they ever got together, do they? It's always kind of the
No,
unrequited thing.
they've gotten together. Maybe not for a very long time, but yeah, yeah, they were together for some parts of the
Briefly.
Netflix
Oh,
series.
okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
but
That's how long
Matt's
ago it
double
is.
life always got in the way.
Right. Okay. And so yeah. And like let's go to the much more mentally healthy guy, which is Punisher. I just like how okay, that's kind of setting that storyline back in motion now as something that going forward. Okay, we are going to have some kind of triangle between them.
One thing I want to put in the good section is episode 5 because that was my favorite out of all of the episodes, despite
The
the
bank.
terrible exactly the bank heist, despite the terrible Irish accents, even though the actors were Irish, which just confused the hell out of me. Uh, but it had the best cameo because of Yusuf Khan. I
Oh
am
yeah,
a huge Miss Marvel fan. I think the Miss Marvel series was so underrated. I
definitely.
loved the Marvels. The Khan again the Khan family in the Marvels was just fucking hilarious. Seeing someone from that show again was really fun, and he had such good banter with Matt. It was just so funny, and like you actually see him trying to reach his daughter, but because they cut off all the phones, that way she wasn't there. So that was like a good like link, and then it also ends with them inviting him over to Jersey for dinner. So we might see Kamala Khan at one point together.
He already knows Peter.
Exactly. He already knows Peter. Although now it's a bit fuzzy because of the spell, so I think he only knows Spider-Man because they don't know that Peter Parker is
That's going to be a
Spider-Man
bit
again.
complicated. Yeah.
But then if he knows Kamala, like, well, there's two of the Young Avengers there already. So it's just like I like just like that little throwback line, and yeah, I just loved seeing him. That was my favorite cameo of the series. And then my other good was just the little scene of where Fisk as the mayor has all these public occasions and they're all singing the same
Kids.
song. And that was just fucking hilarious. And him just sitting in front of the school choir and them singing just like a very tone deaf version, like them singing this tone deaf version of We Built the City, and him just awkwardly sitting in the chair. It's so funny because like as I've been in those situations because I'm someone who's not good with kids at all, and the way he just gets up and like tries to shut it down immediately, brilliant. And then the joke carries on where he's like at the Latvian embassy and they do like a Latvian version of the song as well, and just his face, where I think that's just the moment where he realizes that maybe the bureaucratic life isn't for him because like
Hmm.
all these public engagements are just terrible. But I thought that was a really funny joke.
Yeah. I mean, when it hits right this season, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And for me, my last good, what gives me hope for a really good second series? No, what gives me hope for a great second series as opposed to just a good, which I think this was. Who is Matt's army going to be? Because it sure as hell is not going to be those bunch of people in the bar there. I'm sorry, like there is no one there
I
that can
was
help him.
really like as the camera was panning, I was like looking for Jessica Jones. I was really hoping would be just standing there, but maybe because she deserves a more badass entrance. I think I really hope when they said that we need an army, they were referring to Jessica
And the
Jones
defenders, yeah.
and the Defenders minus Iron Fist. Iron Fist. Defenders minus Iron
I
Fist.
mean, hey, we could get, like you just mentioned, we could get a Miss Marvel cameo, we could get a Spider-Man cameo, although I'm not too sure on
Not too
that
sure.
with
Yeah,
the
Tom
violence.
Holland is quite busy as well. So
But hey, give us Jessica Jones, give us Luke Cage. I'll be happy with those.
give us Moon Knight. Give us some reason for him to be in New York. Like because I want to see him
It's the same
again.
directors. It's the same directors now who did Moon Knight.
Yeah, because that was a very underrated show, and I really enjoyed Oscar Isaac in that. So like, I would really like to see him again as well.
That would be a cool way to bring it back in. But as always, fuck Iron Fist. That's perfect thing to bring us onto the bad of the show. And I think both of our key complaint is who is this show for? It's not a reboot, it's season 4. But also, it is a reboot because the whole season is Fisk and Murdoch trying not to be Kingpin and Daredevil. From what people have told me, is basically the plot line of season 3 of the show anyway.
It is, and that's why I was just so confused watching this because I was just like, this feels like deja vu. We've done this before. To be honest, we've done the whole Born Again story, which is like was really like so that why I got again confused. I haven't read the comics, so I don't know, but I know Born Again is a very important arc in the comics. I think they wanted to like keep that title for the fanfare, but they basically did the storyline in the last season of Daredevil. But the fact that I couldn't remember it, maybe it was a good idea. But one thing that is just confused the hell out of me is why didn't they do a recap? Like,
Yeah.
why didn't they do a previously on Daredevil? If that's like, if there, this was going to be like a direct continuation of the Netflix series, which they now own, was it like Disney's hubris that they didn't want to call back to something that they didn't create themselves? Starts out with the characters that you love again, and it feels familiar. But then at the same time, they're like already referencing talking stuff, and then after like the first 10 minutes, you're like, wait, what? Like, it just gave you whiplash. It just,
I mean, I was so lost. Having not watched season 3, and my dad, who hadn't watched any of Daredevil, was
yeah.
just like, where is the recap? Where is the like. And recaps are so important.
If it was a proper reboot, yes, they didn't need to have a recap. But then the point, because I thought the point was of the show was reintroducing Daredevil into the MCU and reintroducing him to new viewers who may have not seen the Netflix show. I thought that was the point of like
Which
this
probably
was
should
gonna
have been
be
the way to
like
do it.
this is gonna be its standalone thing, just with the MCU, kind of like they did with Wolverine in Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Wolverine.
You did not need to see any of the X-Men movies for this character, and a lot of people didn't because the X-Men movies were very, very niche, and only humongous nerds like us went to see them. It still kind of boils my blood now that superheroes are popular because God, I got bullied for that in school. But they did that really well. It isn't the identical Wolverine that we know from the X-Men series because it's Wolverine in the Deadpool world. But yeah, you did not need to watch the X-Men movies to know like the backstory. And I thought this was going to be a similar situation.
Yeah, you could have absolutely had that because when Matt Murdoch turns up in She-Hulk, and it's a much more fun character.
Yeah.
He's like, well, he's basically, he's not attorney at law, he's Manwhore at Law in that
Yeah.
one. Again, it split the fans, probably mostly negatively, but everyone's like, oh no, that's a much lighter touch character. That's much more. I was like, yeah, but it's not that he's not the Matt Murdoch from the Netflix series. He's in her show, so they're
Yeah.
giving you a version that fits that. So why didn't they create their own thing? Exactly what you said. These are the characters, lay it all out. This is what they're going to do. You could have just continuing it on. It just didn't make sense. It just didn't.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with it is, as well as the show went on, was that you could really feel the joins where they had all this material where it was going to be a procedural and a case of the week. So you had, the stuff with the White Tiger. You had the stuff with the other. There was about 2 cases, wasn't there? 2 or 3 cases, I
Yeah.
think, throughout the course of
And
it.
I didn't mind that because it was
It was still done well.
It was still really done well, and it was very reminiscent of season 2 of Daredevil because season 2 of Daredevil, the first half was the procedural. No, the first half was the Punisher story and them capturing the Punisher, and then the second half was them defending the Punisher, and then it
That's
was
it.
more procedural, and that works because Daredevil is a lawyer; it's part of his character. That makes sense. It's just, it's just because those stories did not go anywhere. Like the White Tiger story, again, just evaporated. It did not go anywhere. And
Well, I mean,
then,
his brains evaporated from his head, so
yeah, I had a feeling you were going to say something like that. But yeah, I mean, it kind of introduced the fact that there were other vigilantes in the city other than Daredevil. But again, it didn't really lead to anything.
Well, it leads to Fisk setting up his vigilante task force to just take them all
Yeah,
out eventually. But that feels
eventually, and
like,
then it also leads to technically Matt going back and becoming Daredevil again just to save his niece. Niece, it was his niece, yeah. To me, he wasn't pushed to the breaking point yet. Like I because I know you're here for Daredevil, you're here to see him in the suit, but for me it wasn't emotionally justified him putting the suit on again. Like I
yeah.
don't think he like it was like translated well that he was like pushed to the breaking point where he's like, okay, there's no more option anymore. Like they did have the scene before that where he called 911, but then he just hung up. Like for example, in Only Murders, in the previous season that I did not find so good. But there was this like joke with the 911 operator where they call 911 because they're reporting another murder that happened. Of course, that's the show. And it's like, you're 97th in the queue for 911. And that is just like such a funny joke. And if they'd done something similar where like they were like, oh, sorry, all of our police officers are busy right now, or sorry, they'll put him on hold. I think again that would have been more justified, where he realizes, okay, no one here is gonna help like save this. No one here is gonna come to the rescue. It has to be me. It just needed a bit more emotional punch.
Does he know it's a serial? Yeah, he suspects it's a serial killer that's got her, isn't it? That
He
it's.
suspects,
So
yeah.
I don't think he would wait for the police anyway in that chance. I think he would go and take care of it himself.
I don't know because he was trying to like believe in the law again and believe that the justice system works. Yeah, and then we go like that ties into the Muse storyline, which in a way it was good, but it just didn't. Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it felt like it was from a different show. I was like, oh, they've got this. I'm basically watching Seven, but in Daredevil.
Yeah, I mean they had it in episode one. They had like it ended with like him like doing the mural of Fisk. And then throughout the show you see like graffiti. But the thing is graffiti in New York is not really like
Right?
stand out. I mean, that's kind of the genius of the serial killer that he like hides his victims in plain sight. But it's still just someone would have like made a more reference. Like you had like he did kill those two girls who were just like, "Oh my God, are you Muse?" And so it shows like he did have like a cult following, but like if they would have like shown like I don't know, like maybe like an Instagram account or something like that that was dedicated to street art and like showing like this artist like popping up all over the place suddenly and like seeing like new styles and stuff like that.
Maybe an episode of the BB Report could have covered it.
Exactly, which also leads to the bad, but we're still amused. Exactly,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
exactly that would have been a good way to use the BB report, where like she was just like asking people about the street art and what they feel about it, and so it kept in the narrative, and then like the identity of Muse was so obvious
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like if you meet one random character and you never see them again, you know he's gonna be the bad guy.
And yes, and the badness of the Muse storyline brings us onto probably one of my other worst bits of the series, Dr. Heather Glenn. Maybe the worst psychiatrist I've ever seen in the show. Just so, and I feel sorry for the actress because I've seen her in other stuff and she's quite good, but in this, the script does not help her at all. The character, and she has no chemistry. How is it possible to have no chemistry with Charlie Cox's Daredevil, Matt Murdoch?
I do not know.
Unless that's what they were going for, but
No,
why?
my like gripe mainly about her was like, oh, another love interest. Like I've spoken about this before, where I just genuinely hate forced romance in action. Like it doesn't need it. Like you don't need to have. And I think we were all still like hung up on Karen, so we knew like she wasn't like the end game because we knew that like he still loved Karen. So it was like we knew that this character would not amount to anything, so it just didn't make yeah, was pointless. And then like of course the whole like I'm writing a book about secret identities and it's just like you can't have a healthy relationship that way anyway. It's just it like we knew from the beginning it wouldn't work. So
Yeah.
like there was no point in getting emotionally invested in this relationship.
And I mean, my eyes started rolling back in my head the second you see that her client is Fisk and Vanessa. I mean, that was quite funny. I cut the some of the scene, but it was because of Fisk and Vanessa, not her. You could have just had a mannequin there, and it would have had the same level of pathos in those scenes.
Although, to be honest, props to them to going to couples therapy. I mean, I don't think they could have openly talked about their issues, but I'm always team therapy with a competent psychiatrist. So, like, props for them to going to therapy and trying to work out their
They
issues.
just needed a competent therapist, though, and not one
Yeah,
whose only fan who signed her book is a serial killer.
yeah,
But there is potentially hope for her for the next series because she seems to have split up with Matt and is now working with Fisk. So, Department of
yeah,
Mental Health, yay.
yeah. I think they're setting up her like a jilted ex kind of thing. I don't know. I'm not excited
Hey,
to where
as
they're
long as
taking
she
this
dies
character.
horribly in season two, I don't mind. And then Matt can just be like, be sad for an episode and then go and hook up with the Latvian prosecution girl because they had much more chemistry. And we want
No,
more of her in the show.
Karen.
And Karen, obviously. But Karen's endgame, you got to work towards Karen. He's got to have his big Barney with Frank as well before that. Again. Now, one other thing the show has done really bad. Not bad. Yeah, it is bad. It has underwritten so many of the side characters. You have Cherry. Now, I couldn't even remember if Cherry was in the original show. And then you have Kirsten McDuffie, Matt's new law firm partner. She is so underwritten. She literally, both of those characters just serve to be connecting tissue between scenes. When someone says, "Where's Matt?" "Oh, he's off doing this." "I need to get a hold of Matt. Where is he?" "Oh, I can't find him." That's literally all they do. There's no development of them at all. And BB Ulrich's BB report, that just didn't work at all.
It just
Aesthetically, just kids on phones doesn't work.
they could have used that as a form of recap or as a form of like catching people up of like what happened. That would have been
The
like if you
Spider-Man 2, in Spider-Man No End, when they have the news report thing at the start of one of the Tom Holland Spider-Man films, and they recap the last. I was like, brilliant.
yeah, and like that's why if you're gonna have a medium like that, you could have that like had people in the street going, "Oh yeah, remember when this and this happened? That's why I don't trust that thing." Yes, it would have been a bit of an exposition dump, but it was been so much better than like I don't understand what this was meant to be. It just felt like pointless filler, and it just didn't amount to anything every time. Like the BB report like came on, I was just like, it killed the momentum of any episode that it was on.
The only thing I can think it was there for was to show the city's opinion on Fisk.
Yeah, but there would have been so much more smarter ways to do
Oh yeah,
it. They could have used it in a very clever way, but they didn't, and then it was just pointless.
but it's aesthetically it was done wrong as well. Like it's a YouTube. It's supposed to be like a social video.
Yeah.
She only does stuff on social, but it didn't look like it. It looked like a news report. It looked like a documentary.
Yeah, to be honest, that is true. That is actually a very good choice.
So that took me out of it even more. Like, bar the fact the content was boring and it didn't,
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
like you say,
Social
it killed the
media does
momentum.
not work like that. That's a fair
Yeah.
point. I didn't even think about that.
Just from a technical point, it's like it doesn't look right.
So I put the Punisher in the bad, not because I dislike the character or dislike seeing him. I just think every time they introduced him into the plot, it felt so shoehorned. Like the first time we see him, where he attacks Matt with the hammer, it was just the scene.
Why?
I just thought it was so jarring, and it was just like it was one of those like, yeah, we know you love this character, so here he is, and it just once again didn't amount to anything. And I think it was like just a reminder for the finale, like this character is still around, so just you will see him again. And then when he came in the finale, like I did really like them like fighting together and like the final showdown in Matt's apartment. But the dialogue leading up to it honestly felt like ADR because there were some, it was really weird cut. And there was sometimes like where you couldn't even see the lips of the actors. So it felt like it was added in afterwards. So
I
it
mean, it
felt,
probably could have been, to be fair.
yeah, exactly. It felt like one of those scenes that was rewritten multiple times again. It just didn't like because it just didn't work. Yeah, they could have introduced him a lot more organically. And like I enjoyed seeing him again, but it's just yeah, the way they introduced him into the plot of this show, it just didn't work. It didn't flow well. It felt shoehorned in.
So, this brings us on to our first ever What in the Actual Fuck section, because there is a moment that takes place in episode one of this show that literally made me scream that out loud. So, this isn't just a what the fuck moment, this is more than that, because it feels like it's not just a gut punch. It's a gut punch and then literally laying there on the floor and someone pees on you and gives you the finger. That's how bad. That's what this felt like watching this scene. So the most egregious thing the show did all season was killing Foggy and
Yeah.
sidelining Karen, and I put them two together. And like we say, there was such uproar when it was eventually announced that Foggy and Karen were not coming back. And like I said, I mentioned earlier, they even recast Vanessa at this point. And well, the internet lost its mind, and there were rumors that Cox and D'Onofrio both objected as well. So we were then all really happy when we heard, okay, we're retooling the show. Both Foggy and Karen and Vanessa, OG Vanessa, will be back. Until that mess of a first episode, as we learn that Vanessa later on has Foggy killed by Bullseye. And it felt like such a smug fuck you to the fans when they killed Foggy and then sidelined Karen to the very end of the series, because it clearly meant the original writers, and you know, it's fair enough on the original writers, they clearly had no plans on bringing them back in the first place. So then when the new guys come on, who I was defending earlier, it's their idea to use the death of Foggy to motivate Matt to stop being Daredevil and to separate him and Karen again. And I was really worried about that. When I saw that happen, I was like, and we're not going to see Karen again till the end of the series. That's it. She'll be gone after this. So I'm glad she's still on the board. But I mean, you don't kill his best friend and one of the main characters from the original just as a cheap motivational tool. There could have been so many better ways to do it. So many.
Not just his best friend. I mean, he's like the fan favorite. Like he's the fan favorite among everyone loves Foggy, and he's a fan favorite character. So just like killing him off, yeah. I mean, I still was like in denial till like episode 2. I thought it was like one of those cases where he like it looked like he died, but then he actually survived.
I heard a crazy theory where someone's like, what if Foggy is Muse?
What about it? I think it did cross my mind as well because I was just like, they can't kill him off. He is such a fan favorite character. They cannot just kill him off. Like, then I would have rather not have them in the show at all. I think I get maybe the idea of the original writers because they were like aiming for a reboot, so like they didn't want to have old
Yeah.
characters come in, but they could have woven it in more organically, like the way they wove in Matt into MCU when he cameoed in Spider-Man. That was like, in my opinion, woven in so organically. And I think Foggy also was in other shows outside of Daredevil because
Right.
he like briefly
Eldon Henson. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he like briefly worked for another law firm, and I think he was also in Jessica Jones. I just did not understand the choice at all, and I do agree for you for like a motivational a tool. I mean, I think because they've written themselves in a corner, because basically Matt stopped being Daredevil after a church fell on him at the end of Defenders, and he spends most of season 3 like recovering and becoming
That's
Daredevil
it,
again,
because season
and
three was after the Defenders, wasn't it?
exactly after
I forgot that.
Defenders, he spent most of season 3 recovering and resolving his mommy issues. And then he becomes Daredevil again. So just like it's flip flopping. It's just like I think they just wrote themselves in a corner and did not really know what to do. And I think like I don't think Matt should have stopped being Daredevil at all. Like I think that's where the true problems of the show
It's probably because they
lie.
wanted the duality of him and Fisk having the same arc.
Yeah, but they had that in season 3.
And yeah, you didn't need it. I mean, the only way they could have made this worse is if they'd killed Karen instead.
Yeah. I mean, Matt would have bounced back, I think, way more easier. I mean,
True. Actually, yeah.
like women are just nothing to that man. But no, but I think, yeah, no, the opera would have been the same. It also the way they killed him, just having him bleed out slowly on the pavement, like basically giving us hope where we thought no. And then also Matt should have been dead by that scene because he looked like a fucking porcupine with all those knives sticking out of him. Like the plot armor was real.
And also, how the fuck did Bullseye survive? He got thrown off a roof. He doesn't have any special powers, right? He's just a really good assassin.
No, I think he does.
Oh, okay.
I think he does have some sort of special powers. I think it's like I'm not
Daredevil
sure.
fans, drop us a note in the comments and let us know.
Yeah, no, I think they did introduce it
In
like
season 3.
like something like it's like similar to like a shittier version of the serum, like the Captain
Serum.
America
Yeah,
serum
gotcha.
or the pills. I think he does have some sort of superhuman ability. I might be just chatting shit, but I do think. But yeah, plot armor for both of them in that scene was like out of this world. And yeah, and to be honest, because then this is where the identity crisis comes in. For people who've never seen the show, you introduce these characters, and then like by the end of 40 minutes, you kill one of them off. Like, and for us, it had an emotional weight, but it just pissed us off. For the people who'd never seen Daredevil before, they're like, well, who was this random guy who just died? Like, it didn't work either way. It
Mm.
didn't please new fans, and it pissed off all the original
And
fans.
I think it pissed us off because they'd made such a big deal celebrating that, okay, we're bringing them back.
Yeah,
I mean, we should
and
have seen that coming.
we should
They
have
went
seen
and
that
went
coming since that photo of them on the like walking on the street was the only photo we saw of them
from the
three
season.
together.
Yeah.
Together, like that maybe should have given us alarm bells, but I just still remember like all the comments on socials going, "Oh, we're so fucking back! Like the trio is back," and then they just did that.
The trio is back for one scene.
For yeah, exactly one scene and then one of them dies. This is where like the writing of the show just like it fell completely flat.
And the funny thing is, that first episode was by the new writers and showrunners. They had
Yeah.
to kind of. So I'd love to have known what the original would have been now, where the old showrunners were doing the procedural side of it. But I mean, do you think it would have been a better idea if they just literally had it continue from the end of the Defenders and just skip season three? Then they could have told that arc and just kind of reset it back to the end of the Defenders. So like it's literally Matt coming out of the rubble of the church, and then well, no, because again I haven't seen season three, so
Like I first thought that was the last time you did see Matt in the Netflix series at the end of Defenders, and then I remember season 3 did come after that. But I don't think so. I think erasing a complete other season would have been messy.
hmm.
I just think like as I said, they just did not know what they were going to do with this show. They didn't know if they wanted it to be a continuation or a reboot, and they decided to do like a shitty compromise, and it didn't work either way.
And I kind of feel sorry for these because the original writers they're not as well known as the team who came in afterwards,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of like well they didn't really get. I guess you never want to see anyone fail at something, but and the fact that they have tried to write it, and like I say, it looks like they are going to try and bring back the Defenders, and we're going to get there's going to be a Frank Cut, there's going to be a Punisher spin-off mini TV movie,
Oh,
so
really? I
like
did
a
not hear
one,
that.
yeah, so it's going to be a Frank Castle one shot, so like a Werewolf by Night, so like a 45 minutes to an hour
Oh,
one-off Frank
interesting.
Castle story. It's going to be under the Marvel Special Presentations banner, which they did Werewolf by Night from as well. So that's going to be cool. So yes, anything else on this one?
No, I think like that's you cannot beat killing Foggy. Like that was the true, yeah, what the fuck moment of the season. And it happened in the first episode.
Yeah, sons of bitches. So Marie, at the end of the day, I have to ask you: is this series a recommendation from you, though?
Yes, I still like wouldn't say like Marvel fans should skip it. I think just seeing Charlie Cox as Daredevil again makes it worth it because he is just so good in the role. But then if somebody like comes up to me and says, "Oh my God, I hated that," I completely understand why. Like,
And what would you give it out of five?
I think it's middle of the road. I think I would have put it like at a 3 out of 5, which like big and yeah, which is sad because I rate I think the Netflix series at least season 1 and season 2 a 5 out of 5. Like those were really good. That was really good television. Maybe again, as I said, because we were starved for superhero content back then. But yeah, this one was just middle of the road, 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a recommendation as well. The show definitely has a rough start, and like we've mentioned repeatedly, it feels like two different shows pulling together and pulling apart in some cases, and the clash of styles really doesn't work well. But it ended strongly, and I do like the ideas of where the show is potentially going for its back 9 episodes for season two, which we're hopefully going to get about this time next year. So for me, I'm going to go the same as you. It is definitely it's good, but not great. And I'm hoping for great next series. So this is going to get a 3 out of 5 for me as well. So that is all the time we have on this week's episode of the We Need Roads podcast. I'd like to thank my co-host Marie. Marie, where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me on the socials underneath the handle Life on Mars. That is TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Come fight for me on TikTok because I seem to piss off a lot of people on there. Jose is fighting the good fight in my comment section. And then you can also check out my other podcast, Two Girls, One Reusable Cup, for some completely opposite content for some sustainable shenanigans.
And you can find me at Needy Rhodes on Twitter, NeilG78 on Instagram, and Fred's. And Fred's, I'm loving Fred's. I keep mentioning this every episode at the minute, but there is so much great engagement with If you like a thread about a popular show, that is all the algorithm will show you for the next day or so. And it's great to see so many different opinions when you're researching, going, is this show working? Do people liking it? So yes, follow me on Threads as well. And I'm also on Blue Sky at NeilG78. And don't forget, David occasionally updates our Instagram at We Needed Roads on Instagram as well. And for more We Need Road shenanigans, you can find us on Spotify and also on YouTube, where you'll find our full library of episodes. And if you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button. And also, now on our YouTube, we're uploading lots more short-form content, instant reviews, trailer reactions on our channel. And also, don't forget to leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of Daredevil Born Again and on any of our videos. Let us know and we'll read the best comments out on future episodes. So, don't forget to click that bell icon and subscribe. So, make sure to join us next time as we fire up the flux capacitor and dive into more cinematic chaos. Till next time.
We Needed Roads.